This week, we'll be looking
It's
at.
so quiet. I don't hear all the kids in the background.
I know, I'm so happy. This week, we'll be looking at Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6, 19 through 34. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 through 34. Let me go ahead and put that up on the screen for us here. Matthew chapter 6, verses 19, and we'll read down through verse 34. We're still dealing with yes, 19 and 34. Yes, 34. We're still dealing with the Sermon on the Mount. This is part 4. Hold on. Sorry. Yes, part 4 of the Sermon on the Mount sub-series. This particular part is only dealing with these verses here in Matthew. So we'll go ahead and put this up on the screen here and read starting with verse 19.
All right, Matthew 6, verse 19. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all of your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkened, how great is that darkness? No one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cleave to one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and Mammon. Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat or drink, or about your body, what you shall put in it, put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the heaven, for they neither sow or reap, gather into storehouses, yet your heavenly Father does feed them. And are you not worth more than they? And which of you, by worrying, is able to add 1 cubit to his lifespan? So why do you worry about clothing? Note well the illness of the field, how they grow. The lilies, my bad, the lilies of the field and how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And I say to you that even Solomon in all his esteem was not dressed like one of these. But if Elohim so clothes the grass of the field, which exists today, and tomorrow is thrown into a furnace, how much more you, O you of little belief? Do not worry then, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For all these the nations seek for, and your heavenly Father knows that you need all these. But seek first the reign of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these shall be added to you. Do not then worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each day has enough evil of itself.
Okay. All right. Very good. So let's go back up here to the top here and deal with a few things that we see over here in these verses here. The first thing I wanted to kind of think about is the fact that when you look at do not lay up for yourself treasures. In the Greek, this lay up and treasures is essentially the same word. So it's essentially saying don't treasures for yourself treasures. This layup word here is essentially the same word as treasures, which is here. Let's look at this here. Oh, you can see here. See, this layup is 2343, and this is 2344. It's same thing, basically. They so rizzo and they so Russ, which I found out is the word thesaurus comes from this. A thesaurus, we think of a thesaurus of a book of synonyms, right? But it's kind of like a treasure of words, really.
Organized by.
Yes. Okay, so Yeshua here is saying, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth. So the thing that he's saying don't do, let's see what this is here, right? A deposit that is wealth or figuratively treasure. So treasure really is kind of the figurative understanding of the word that's translated here as treasure. Let's look at let's see here. This word study. That's not it. Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. I gotta change the thing in order to see word study. Okay, here, the word literally means treasure, anything laid up in a store. This is interesting. Anything laid up in a store, wealth. Metaphorically of spiritual treasures pertaining to the mind or eternal life, treasury, place where treasures or stores are kept, storehouse. Metaphoric, the storehouse of the mind, so on and so forth. So the question becomes then, when we think about this thing that Messiah here is saying that we should not be doing, first of all, because this thing, whatever that thing is going to decay or is going to deteriorate. He gives the idea of moths or rust coming and destroying this thing. People that were of great esteem in these times, a regular person got a set of clothes that he wore. He washed, he probably had some type of undergarments that he would have, and he would wear those until he was able to wash his over ones. But the regular person just had a set of clothes. But the rich people, they had all types of clothes. They had many options, right? But these things, these moths would come and eat at their clothes and destroy them.
I don't think about moths.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not. It's for whatever reason, it's not that much of a thing. I guess maybe the location, whatever. So you would store up your clothes and moths would get it and destroy it. Your precious metals or things, people would bury. They would bury these things to keep them safe and hidden. But when you have these metals under the earth, moisture and everything else, it rusts. right? And so these things that you were storing, whatever they may be, they would deteriorate. It talks about thieves breaking in and stealing. It's interesting because they had these homes that were basically made out of like clay. And so for someone like we think about, closing the door and putting a deadbolt on it, but they could just break a hole in with a hammer, just break into your house, literally, by breaking your house.
But we read about how they came into the roof, which is basically cut
Yeah.
a hole in the roof,
Right. Right.
cut a hole in the roof and get in.
Right. So Messiah is bringing up this idea of these things that you're storing up. First of all, they're going to decay. They're going to deteriorate. They're going to be succumb to someone coming, taking those things. Don't worry about those things, because these are things that are going to be stolen or that are going to be moth ridden and rust. But
I mean, like, I think about, people have a lot of clothes sometimes, which I'm not one of those people.
yeah,
They forget what they have. And then they end up getting more stuff, you know what I mean? Because they don't even know, what they have. It loses value,
yeah.
Well,
Well, to you,
to the person who,
yeah,
you know what I mean? They go out and get more stuff, they forget what they have.
yeah. Which in and of itself helps you to understand the idea that it couldn't have been that valuable in the first place. It's all really about your perception of it. When you don't have a thing and you want a thing, it becomes very valuable to you. Then you have it, and you're no longer looking at this idea of whatever it took for you to gain that thing. You got it, and now you're looking somewhere else. So your value is only valuable because of the value that you placed on it. And once you have it, you're looking other places.
And that's
Which is an important aspect, concept to think about as we're trying to understand what is Messiah here is saying, because when you think about Messiah saying what he said from a literal perspective now, think about farmers. Think about the fact that when they go and they get their harvest, there's a storehouse. They store the things that they are acquiring. And depending on how they store it, also depends on how it's going to be preserved. And so there has to be kind of a methods put in place to try to preserve the thing. And so if we think about what Messiah is saying and think about it from a literal perspective, what do we say about the idea of any type of storage? Huh? Hoarding. Well, I don't want to say hoarding. I mean, like, say if you go to the market, maybe the market's so far away that you don't want to go every day, so you get enough to eat for a week. Is that storing it up, or is that, like, how far do you take it? How far do you take the thing that he's describing here?
I wanna bring up something about the 10 virgins.
Are they, are you all, wait, are you
Store up.
able to hear? Are y'all able to hear?
Oh, but you don't have to, all you have to do is.
I was gonna turn off sound cancellation, because I remember when I had the, woman study at the feast. You couldn't hear anyone.
Is Elder Christian able to be heard?
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear him.
Yes, fine.
Okay, so. The virgins
Yeah,
that stored up the oil
yeah,
were wise.
excellent.
So storage in itself and storing up and preparing
Yes.
is not, it's not a bad thing.
You're right, right, exactly. Exactly. The whole idea of commerce is destroyed if we say this is a literal thing that he's saying in terms of don't store up anything here, only store up things for there. The idea of preparing for the return of Messiah. He's giving you, it's, that is a parable. But even if we think about things from a spiritual perspective, there's physical preparations, I think, that are still necessary for spiritual means. Even if we think about this, the idea of wisdom and knowledge. Because one might say, well, I believe in Messiah, and that's the only thing I got to believe in. I don't got to study the scriptures. I don't got to know all of the things. I don't have to increase my knowledge of the Torah. These really are physical pursuits that we would be participating in with spiritual consequences that go along with them. And so that's also kind of storing things up. And so again, you're thinking about this, how far do we take this idea? I think that what we see over here is Messiah using kind of this idiomatic, exaggerated contrast thing that he's doing. Don't do this, do that. Right? With the idea of where is your heart? Because he goes further down. He goes further down. He's speaking about different things, but it's still about where your focus is. Right? And so this idea of treasures and wealth and storing things up really can be thought about in terms of where is it that your heart lies, because maybe these things that you're storing up, your heart focus is so much so directed toward these things that you're gathering, that you're storing, gold and silver and whatever the things may be, is causing you to shift your focus away from the Most High.
More, other one, he had it unmuted for a minute, I don't know.
I had him unmuted?
No, he unmuted, I don't know if you wanted to say something, I don't think you heard him.
Oh, would you try to say something?
No, you're good. You're saying it already. You can keep going. You're saying
Oh,
it.
oh, okay. Okay. So I wanted to go over to, because again, we're looking at this word from a Greek perspective, this word treasure. But I want to also go over and kind of look at this from a Hebraic perspective. If we go to Exodus, Shemot, let's go over to Exodus 19. Exodus 19 and 5. Here, let me share the screen. Exodus 19 and 5. If you could read that for us.
Exodus 19, verse 5. And now, if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasure possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine.
Okay, this word here, treasured possession, peculiar treasure in the Hebrew is segula. Segula. Sagula, right? To shut up, wealth, a jewel, a peculiar treasure. This is your favorite thing. You love this thing the most, right? You can't do without this thing. There's all kinds of peoples in this earth, but the Most High said, these ones are my special ones, right? And so this idea of this Segula, now, if we're thinking about these things that Messiah is calling for us not to be doing, this is this thing that we love this thing more than anything now, right? And so we can't have a thing that is our Segula, this thing that we're setting aside, that we're putting so much attention and love and attention towards, and it don't got nothing to do with the Most High. Because first of all, this thing is going to is not going to survive. It's gonna die, right? But our heart, our mind, the Most High says in Deuteronomy chapter 6 that we need to be loving Him with our whole heart, mind, soul, and strength, right? Our entire being, right? And so when we look at Matthew 6:19 through 21, he kind of gives us a little sum up of what he's dealing with, the point he's trying to get across here. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. He's concerned about where your heart's at. Where's your heart? Right? Because, you know, from a practical standpoint, people gotta live. You know, the marketplace and things, you know, you got to store up, you know, bugs so that you can make ink, so that you can dye your
Your garments.
your garments, right? There's things that you have to do for your commerce that you got to store up.
Just imagine if Joseph.
Oh my goodness. Just imagine if because we can just look at the Torah portion of this past week and think about the fact that he makes this storehouse for survival. And so now, if he was to make that storehouse and then he didn't do it the way in which he did it, where, you know, he stores all this stuff and it's just for himself, right? Then it's flipping it, right? But it's about the heart condition. It makes it back to being about the heart condition. Where's your heart? Why are you doing these things? You know, what is the purpose and point of all of this in the first place, right? So it's about, you know, what are you prioritizing? How are you prioritizing these things in your life?
There's an example of that too, with the man who built bigger barns. Right?
Yeah.
And he said, "Fool, your life is required of you."
Yeah, right.
Set
Exactly.
that up for himself.
Exactly. Right. And so, you know, that's the other thing. There's definitely a fine line here that we're dealing with. There's a fine line because, you know, when you have these things that you store, this wealth, these things that you've gathered, you know, you create this line, this tightrope that you have to walk on, because at some point, you know, you have to get to the place of, are the things that I'm storing, are these things, you know, going to be able to help someone else other than yourself? You have to be able to always think about others in the things that you're doing. You know, when people, you know, they sit up here and they try to, I go to work every day. Not because I love money, because I need money to survive. There's a number that if I was able to somehow get to that number, I wouldn't need anything bigger than that number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's only so much that that one needs in their life for their own self. When I was looking at some of the commentators, when they talk about the idea of within Torah, the idea of inheritance. You can't have inheritance unless you stored something up. And so at what point are you stealing from your children? Where it's not even about you anymore, it's about the ones that are coming after you, that you leave something to.
Right.
So there's all of these things that we can think about with the idea of storing things. And understanding that the message, I think anyway, that Messiah is really trying to deliver is the idea of your heart being in the right place while you're doing these things. I think is the total idea that he's trying to bring across in those first three verses. Go ahead. What was you gonna say?
We the precept, you pull up Matthew 19. I'm gonna start at verse 18.
Hold on one second. Let me put it up.
Okay. This is a good example, a prime
Matthew,
example of what we're talking about. 19, verse 18.
Matthew 19 and 18.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 17.
Okay.
Oh,
17. Okay, good.
okay. Matthew 19:17. And he said to him, "Why do you call me good?" This is the master saying, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim. But if you wish to enter into life, guard the commands." And he said to him, "Which?" And Yeshua said, "You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness. Respect your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself." That's key right there. He put that last. It says, "The young man said to him, all these I have watched over from my youth. What do I still lack?" Yeshua said to him, "If you wish to be perfect, go sell what you have and give it to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come follow me." And when the young man heard the word, he went away sad because he had many possessions. And Yeshua said to his taught ones, "Truly, I say to you that it is hard for a rich man to enter into the reign of the heavens." And y'all should know the rest. But that's key point. And the reason those possessions, you can't fully serve the Most High in your full capacity because you got a connection to this physical plane. You got to look at the people who got these multi millions and billions of dollars, what they're about. That's how you know that none of these people really serve the Most High. Because if you really serve the Most High, it's not possible to have multi millions and billions of dollars. It's just you're a hypocrite. Because right here he said you're supposed to, and there should be nobody poor around you. If I had that much money, there wouldn't be nobody poor around me.
Right.
There would be nobody poor around me. Just like when the what was it in the kingdom with when they ruled with David and all them, his servants. You know what I mean? In the nation, the servants was decked out. So like everybody was benefiting from a righteous kingdom. But here, You got people stealing, people can't barely getting by, but you got people who can build yachts worth $100 million on something I've seen with Jeff Bezos. He had to stop production of this thing he had because he couldn't get the parts or something. But it's like $100 million yacht or something.
Crazy.
It's
He
like,
broke down the bridge to get the yacht.
oh yeah, that too. He had to break a whole bridge down. Oh, it was his house he had to stop construction on. Okay, yeah, the yacht thing he had to break the bridge down. Thanks for that correction, sis. But yeah, because I see these stories and I'm like, I just shake my head because I'm like, yeah, these people they're not serving the Most High. They're not looking at this. And then he told him to sell that stuff because he knew where his heart was.
Yeah.
He said he went away sorrowfully.
Yeah.
If you can't give up physical things in this life, why you think you're going to get to the other side?
Mhm.
Be able to give up anything. So yeah, I just wanted to add that piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, what is it that you're storing the things for? Is it just so that you can just have the things? Well, guess what? The things are gonna rot. The things are going to rust. Somebody's gonna come and take those things. But you know, we have to be thinking about things from not from a selfish perspective. When that guy got that word from Messiah, he just was like, he was done. Like it was like he didn't give him an option. Like it was just was like it's like he didn't have an option. There was nothing that he could do. Like that's what you want me to do? I got to give away all.
Yeshua formed a finishing move on it with those words.
That was fatality. Give away.
He struck him right where his soul was. He hit
Yeah.
he hit him right where he needed corrected at, and he was like, "Oh, it was a cut." Yeah.
Reached in and ripped his heart just right out. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep on going here. Let's look down at read again for us. It's Matthew 6:22 and 23.
It says, "The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all of your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all of your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness?"
Okay, very good. So when we look at these verses here, these these things Messiah is referencing, talking about the eye and the lamp of the body being the eye. It's interesting when you try to think about kind of what it is that he's meaning when he says all of this. You think about a lamp. You think about a lamp. A lamp, is the lamp creating the light, or is it using the thing that creates the light? Is the lamp doing it? Or is because, the way we talk, when I say we, I mean us electricians. When we talk about a lamp,
There's only one here.
when we talk about a lamp, like a bulb, there's a guy that I work with, a bulb you put in the ground.
What?
A bulb?
Are you talking about like a light bulb?
I'm talking about like a plant bulb.
Oh.
A bulb goes in the ground. But a lamp, when we talk about what you all call a bulb,
Oh, y'all don't call it
we
that.
call it a lamp.
Okay.
When we talk about what you all call a lamp, we call the fixture that the lamp goes into.
Those are technical.
Right, so so what's your perspective here? Is the lamp the thing that is creating the light, or is the lamp the thing that's holding the light? You think about your eye, you're looking at a thing, right? And then things are literally entering into your being through you looking at those things. And so there's that. So the eye is a way in to your being from the outside. But also, you can think about everything begins on the inside. You had a desire to look at the thing in the first place. So your eye is only fixed in a particular direction because you want it to be over there. And then as it's over there, now things are coming in. So it's almost like you could look at it from two different perspectives. But when we think about the way that Messiah is saying it over here, he says, if the eye is good, the body will be enlightened. So the eye is good, and then the body is going to be enlightened by the good eye. And so it's almost as if he's really thinking about the fact that your what's making you up, what's giving your light power is the thing that you're fixing your eye on. But again, we have to think about the idea of the way that, you as nefesh, you as this thing that operates off of desires, you're only going to watch what you want to watch. Your eyes only going to be fixed upon whatever it is that you want for your eye to be fixed upon. And so there's really a close relationship between, which one's in the front, right? Is it the inside or is it outside? I think at the end of the day, your whole being is really incorporated in this idea of, what it is that you're, honing in on. Like, what is it that you're desiring? Where is your gaze fixed? Because, the opposite, he talks about the opposite here with the evil eye. If your eye is evil, then your whole body is darkened.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe when he mentioned an eye, you got to change that word to intent,
To
like intent,
intent.
because on a spiritual level, because the same two people, a wicked person can see something and a righteous person can see something. And a righteous person will have a different thought than a righteous person. That don't make what you're looking at necessarily evil. But a wicked person can turn something wicked that's not. But a righteous person can use it for righteousness. So your intent, that I, everything starts in the spirit, as we've been going through the weeks. It starts with your thoughts. And so if you're tuned right, that's why I say, what verse is that? When he said, where's it at? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I'm still in 19. He was in 6, right?
Yeah.
Let me see here. 6. What verse was that? There we go. Yeah. That the lamp of your God is therefore, if your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. So your eye, it's not saying what you're looking at is good. Your eye is good. So your intentions are good. All of your body is now enlightened because you're not going to go out and seek to take anything to do wicked with it. Like that this is also falls into judgment too. So you can look at something and be like, well, that's wicked. I'm not going to do that. That
Yeah.
to keep you from it too. So yeah, I think it would start before it gets to the eye.
Yeah, the intention. Yeah, the
Yeah.
internal. Yeah. Yeah, and really that's kind of the way that I was kind of thinking about it was the fact that, you know, we do things based on the desires that are in us. And so when you decide to view, partake in a thing, you know, some people look at something and it's not, that thing is not appealing to them, so they don't want to look at it. You know, some people like to watch movies, some people don't like to watch movies. So it's just, what is it that you desire to do? That thing that's in your heart to do, that is the thing that you do. So yes, it goes to your intention. And so are you looking at a thing, you know, with the intent on, which we all should actually be doing, by the way, with the intent on serving the Most High, or is it all just selfish desires? I think it's interesting that he kind of follows up with verse 24. Can you read 6:24 again for us here?
Yep. No one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cleave to the one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and Mammon.
Yes. Yes. No one is able to serve two masters. Right? So again, it goes to the idea of, you know, where do your priorities lie? Um, this word here is interesting. This word mammon. Mammon. It's kind of foreign to us in our language. Mammon. Says here is of Chaldee origin. Confidence, that is wealth personified. Wealth personified. If we look at this in the word study, here it gives us even more. The personification of riches.
Complication.
The personification of riches. Where, you know, riches, material, it even says a god of materialism, right? The god of materialism. You know, this, and so when we think about riches, now all of these stuff, all of these things are building all on what Messiah even just started to say, started talking about storing things up. But if somebody's storing things up from, you know, that negative way, they end up getting to this place where materialism turns into your God. The Lord of you is this idea of riches and possessions and wealth, where it's not even about using you know, money as what it actually is, as a resource, where it just has turned into just, you're just now just trying to just get and get and get and gain for, at no, there's no limits to the things that you will or will not do to gain these things. You think about the way in which people go about gaining possessions, where they don't care about um, casualties. They don't care about what happens to this one or that one, as long as they're able to get theirs. Right? And so once you get to that place, you're dealing with this whole mammon thing, this idea of this God that you've created, where you're just gathering things. It's interesting when you look at this word, this mammon word. There was this particular commentator that deduces that this word mammon, inside of it is aman, where it's dealing, which is the word for faith or trust or confidence. But again, dealing with this idea of amassing riches, someone's putting their trust and confidence and faith in the riches, in the money, right? And so it's interesting the way that Messiah is going as he's dealing with all these things, because he starts off talking about, right, treasures and storing things up, right? He goes into this idea of the eye and your focus, and what we have determined to be dealing with intent. And now he gets back to this idea of riches and mammon, where it has become your actual master. This thing, if something's your master, you're serving this thing. Right? Why is he talking about this idea of serving two masters, loving one and hating the other? And he's connecting this mammon thing to it, this wealth thing to it. Where are you putting your trust? Are you trusting in the Most High, or are you trusting in your this wealth God? But then when he good.
I was gonna say that I think the connection is very interesting.
Yeah.
On how he connects, goes from the eye into, man.
Mhm.
And, the eye is a way of communicating. As we learned on this trip, right? What do we stop doing? We stop looking.
Yeah.
People are always trying to sell us.
Y'all walking with y'all head down over there.
Yeah.
Not to look at. If you looked at them, it was
Yes.
a problem,
Yes.
right?
Do not look in the eye.
If you think about different things that we go through on a day basis, like, if you walk by the houses of ill repute, what are they trying to do? They want you to look at them.
Mhm.
They're trying to get in your line of sight. They're
Yeah.
trying to, you know what I mean? And that's how it is with the riches and mammon and all of that. All of these things are being flashed in our faces 24/7.
Yeah.
And people are seeing this with their eyes.
Mhm.
They're being darkened, and then they're serving mammon now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think it's very interesting how this was set up.
Yeah.
With your eyes, then you start looking, how dark is it? And then can't serve two masters.
Mhm. Yeah. It's all the master teacher is just that. He's a master teacher. He's not, these are just not random things that that he's saying. He's given us kind of this comprehensive package of things that's all really dealing with one idea. And he's just kind of hitting it from, from different angles, but it really has to do with, what is it that we're putting our focus in, and why isn't it him? It got to be him. He must be our master. He must be the one who is the direct, where our gaze is directed towards. Good.
Oh, last thing. What was the last way that the devil tried to tempt Yeshua? What was the last
The
temptation?
last one. I don't know the order. Was it the food?
He showed him all.
Oh, he showed them all of
things
the
of the
things.
earth.
I give you all of these things, yes. Food was first, and he wanted them to jump off the thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing, right? And that's what it comes down to. And then that's, and that's where we're at. We have to get to he gives us this quick little thing about the eye, and it's probably one of the most important parts of this whole thing, because, the way that we fall into things that we shouldn't fall into, it all got to do with, you distractions and you shifting your focus away from the Almighty to these other things, trinkets, these things that seem to be profitable, but end up being a trap.
You know what's really interesting in my studies of something I've been constantly looking into, furthering in the faith is neurology. So, on the base level, they say we have the five senses, smell, touch, see, the basics. But when you go into neurology, they say there's roughly, um, it's debatable, but they say between 23 and 33 actual senses. But the one that generally affects the body the most is the eyes, sight. And that makes up, they said the impact that the eyes have on the body is 80% greater than any other thing. So you can see something, it can raise your blood temperature. I mean, actually your blood temperature, with your blood pressure, but your temperature too. It could change your emotions. Something
Yeah.
can make you happy. It's like the power of it is really great. So it's interesting that he chooses the eye,
Yeah.
because he said, in neurology, that's what you take 80% of your senses. That's what you take in of the world. It's like it accounts for 80%.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that in there.
There's just so many things that are incorporated in, just looks. It was interesting. We were just looking at this guy that was talking about public speaking. He talked about the way in which you, present your voice, but he also talked about the visual thing that you have. Sometimes, when you look at someone and they're, I don't know what else to say, they're not visually appealing to you, it takes away from what it is that they're saying. Like, it's almost like you need to have the right visuals in order to sometimes even accept the thing. And it's weird that makes a difference, because I'm not sitting up here trying to like lure you into some kind of thing. I'm trying to, you really just need to hear what's being said, right? But if the visuals ain't right, it could cause people to not even to hear. But that goes back a lot to what you was talking about. There's so many, that's an interesting thing, because when people are, and I just gotta say this to you. I'm just saying, I'll say it. another time. But related to this I thing, there's the things sometimes don't have to be spoken. It could just be about a particular eye contact that you had with individuals, right? Where it's all about like what's going on in the eyes.
You'd be like, it's time to go. Like,
Yeah, but you ain't said nothing though. Right? It's just about what you're doing with just the non-verbal communication and eye contact. And so that idea of, you know, the power of your your eye it's pretty interesting. Let's see, what do we have here? What are some of these comments we have going on here? 1 John 2:15-17. Don't love the world or the things that are in the world, for if anyone loves the world, the Father's love isn't in them. For all that is in the world, the lust, the flesh, the lust of the eyes, of course, very good, and the pride of life isn't the Father's, but is the world's. The world is passing away with its lusts, but he who does Elohim's will remains forever. The lust of the eyes is, that's, you have the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. These are like the three things that lure you into this trap that is the world. And so it's a pretty important part of the puzzle here. Oh, what's this say? There's research that shows that people who look pretty and clean are seen as innocent and guiltless. People who are dirty and ugly, people automatically believe they are guilty or will commit a crime. I believe that. I believe that.
we talk about how that also is something that you can't control necessarily. My mind is blanking right now on what it's called, but there's an actual name for it. Where you create like assumptions based off of how people look.
Yeah.
It's probably in that article that they just posted.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, the word that I'm thinking about, it's like 3 words.
Pretty privilege.
It's a pretty
I don't know. Is that Jacob? Wow. Wow, Jacob.
But yeah, it's you create these ideas in your mind that you might not even know that you created.
Yeah.
And you said Ebony.
Oh, okay, very good.
But you didn't even know you created these thoughts.
I know, I just did it just right there. I just read the comments and this, and I was like, that can't be Jacob. Jacob? I just was prejudiced against Jacob.
You funny.
Like, wow, he's so mature. I didn't even know it.
He reads articles.
I know, it's crazy. All right, very good. Yes, all these things are important for us to guard and maintain in this world so that we're able to, Messiah he's dropping these jewels on us, Messiah is. And it's important for us to be able to grasp all these things that he's given us so that we can walk in righteousness. All right, let's drop down to 25 through 30. 25 through 30. Let's read again 25 through 30. See what he gets into here. Matthew, oh, hold on, let me put it up on screen here.
Matthew 25, verse 25 through 30, 6:25 through 30.
Yes, yes.
Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat or drink, or about your body, what you shall put on. It is not life more than the food, and the body more than the clothing? Look at the birds of the heaven, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into storehouses, yet your heavenly Father does feed them. Are you not worth more than they? And which of you, by worrying, is able to add 1 cubit to his lifespan? So why do you another clothes? Worry about clothing? Note well the lilies of the field, how they grow; they neither toil nor spin. And I say to you that even Solomon, in his all his esteem, was not dressed like one of these. But if Elohim so clothes the grass of the field, which exists today, and tomorrow is thrown into a furnace, how much more O you of little belief?
Okay, very good. So it's interesting, um, these words that Messiah is speaking over here. I want for us to pay attention to what I think is probably most important here. Because if we look at verse here, 25, I think the key thing here is let's see, where's that? 3309, this one here. Take no thought. Take no thought. This 3361 is kind of just a negative word, so that's just basically no. Right? So this over here is our word to be anxious. To have, be careful, take thought. Where is it theirs? Oh, here we go. To be anxious, to be troubled with cares, to care for, to look for a thing. Let's see here. I think when we look at this, we need to, so if it's saying for us to be anxious, let's see what this is. Let's see what that is. Let's see what that is. That's pretty important for our understanding here. Wait, where's? Ah, there we go. All right, so this is what you don't want for us to be, right? Anxious, greatly concerned or solicitous, respecting something future or unknown, being in painful suspense, all right, applied to persons as to be anxious for the issue of a battle. So when we think about anxiousness, right, this idea of being in painful suspense, right? When we think about the idea of fear, right, or doubt, these are things that, when we look at these ideas, fear, doubt, these aren't things that should be connected to us in regards to the Most High, especially in relation to these things that Messiah is talking about, like, just kind of your basic things, food, drink, clothes, right? Those are his examples, right? Food, drink, clothes. Don't be anxious about these things, right? Don't be anxious about those things. Why? Because look at the birds. What do you ever see birds stressing out? Well, if they did, I guess you wouldn't know if they were stressing out. But he's letting us know that they don't really be stressing out. They just go and they live their lives, right? But 27 is interesting because at which of you by worrying is able to add 1 cubit to his lifespan? I want to know. Go ahead, put it in the comments. When you have a situation that stresses you out, by being stressed out, put in the comments how being stressed out helped your situation. Go ahead. I'll look into it. See if I see it. I don't see anything. I don't see any. I don't think any comments. Okay, so being stressed out never added, it never added,
More stress.
it never added to your situation, not even one time did it. And so we got to think about what it is that the master is saying to us over here, this idea of worrying, this idea of being anxious about these things, these basic things that he has said that he's going to provide for you. And it's interesting that he has this kind of at the bottom of what he was talking about before as far as riches, mammon. We're putting our trust in these things over here. We're turning this mammon, riches, our treasures into our gods. And we're saying, well, as long as I got this God, I can provide these basic needs over here. But then this God becomes diminished, and now we begin to be anxious.
When the God and man,
When the personified God becomes small. And then now we have, so we're putting our faith really in what? This thing that you could see, taste, touch, smell.
You think about, like, especially me, coming from the music industry, right? There's certain things as you ascend up the ladder that you have to acquire, right? So it's all about the image. So you have to do the clothes. You have to wear the chains. You have to wear all these things. And most people that are trying to ascend up this ladder of status and wealth and whatnot, they go broke back down the ladder by acquiring all of these things.
Yeah.
And so people today, in this very time, this message is for this very time, even though it's probably for those times, all times, but this very time, I think of right now, how people are dying for these things and how people do not believe they are worth anything unless they have these things.
Yeah.
Like you go to school, kids, what are those? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're not dressed a certain way, you don't look a certain way, you're literally valueless.
Yeah.
To the society at hand.
Yeah. It's this crazy advertisement campaign that's going on, and the thing that's being sold is mammon. It's just this idea of having things that someone
Get rich or die trying.
Yeah. This thing that these people have put this idea in our minds that having things that they declare as that they tell you the thing's valuable and then you believe it.
They get rocks from the ground and tell you that this is worth, this is
$1 million trillion. And only because of the value that they've placed on it. And then you accept that, you accept that thought, that valuation that they've given to you, and then now it's valuable to you.
Not only that, but you sell drugs to get these things. You kill people to get these things. You do all this wickedness so you can gain money to get these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and once you take it to that level, now you're doing anything you can do in order to get this thing. You don't care about people, you don't care about who you hurt, you don't care about how you get it as long as you have it. Once you get to that place, that thing is your God. But that's and then that's the advertisement that the world has everywhere you look. What's this comment here? 1 Samuel 16:7. But Yahweh said to Samuel, don't look on his face or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him, for I do not see as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but Yahweh looks at the heart. Yeah. And so I'm saying we, as far as humanity, we have these thoughts that we see, these things, these ideas that we look at, and that someone tells us are things that we need to be following after and doing, that they've determined to be right, good, valuable. We accept those things and follow after those things, when in all actuality, those things are all from the devil.
Exactly. It's the same campaign that he took Yeshua through. It's the same.
It's the
campaign.
same thing that he took Adam and Hava through. There was a thing that the serpent said was of value, and they accepted that. It's the same game over and over again. The rules are the same. The players are different. But it's the same exact thing. But at the end of the day, we win this game the same way we won from the beginning of time, is to accept the things that the Most High has said is valuable and want those things, do those things. Matter of fact, Yeshua says it right over here. But I don't want to drop down to there. I want to deal with the fact that when we think about the idea of anxiety, being anxious for these things, it's rooted in fear, it's rooted in doubt, and it brings about idolatry. It brings about idolatry. It causes you to look away from the Most High, who is the great provider. You doubt the fact that he's able to do a thing for you, that he's able to provide a way when there is no way. You look away from him and you look towards the supposed danger of this thing, whatever it may be. Yeah, whatever it is, whatever it may be. And so when we look at what it is that Messiah is saying over here, he's saying we have to get away. The end result, he says all that he says and says, "Oh, you of little faith." It's a faith lesson. So fear, anxiety, doubt, these things are the antithesis of faith. Go ahead.
I would also say that the opposite of anxiety is hope.
Yes, because hope is, when I have hope in the thing, I know that thing is coming to pass. You're able to wait for a thing and anticipate a good result at the end of it. That's what hope is. You waiting in anticipation of a good, pleasant result.
It's,
Where the complete opposite is this worrying thing, where because what do it say? Painful. It's like you don't, it's like this little movie I was watching the other day. It's like this thing, I know something bad is about to happen. What's it gonna be? It hurts to not know this thing that's getting ready to happen, but that's how we are in real life. When the unknown is around the corner and we lose our minds because it causes us to be looking around the corner when we should be looking towards the Most High. In all actuality, it don't matter what's around the corner if we're able to stay focused on the Most High.
I would say that there's always something around the corner because
There literally is always something around the
if
corner.
if I put my hope in money, I don't even know what we would be doing.
Mm.
Because it just seems like everything, what's gonna go wrong is gonna, more than likely, something is gonna go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Car is going to
All that.
start leaking oil.
All that.
Tire is gonna start leaking air.
Everything.
You know, the refrigerator is going to stop keeping things cold.
Yes.
There, you know, when you get to a point where everything is perfect and everything is good, enjoy that moment because
I'm
the
saying
equilibrium is
if everything is good in your life, you're probably in gross iniquity. That's what I'm gonna say. Because this life that we live is full of things that are being used to try to pull us away from the place that you're going. If you're traveling, we're in this world. If you're moving in the direction of the Most High, someone don't want you to move in that direction. So there's going to be traps in your way. But if you're not moving in the direction of the Most High, then that's, according to this world, that's where you're supposed to be going anyway. So what do you need a distraction from what? You don't need any distractions. You're going the way that you're supposed to be going. There is, I mean, that over there is what should be expected, though.
Yes.
Is my thing. That goes along with that. You know, if I live a life where I'm out here robbing people, and then somebody ends up robbing me or killing me because they coming back because I don't, you know what I mean? That's just a life. That's just reap what you sow. It's just reap what you sow. You live a life of debauchery. Debauchery is going to, in fact, come up on you. But if you live a life that is about righteousness, not necessarily debauchery is going to come upon you, but ways to move you out of the way is going to come upon you. And we have to be able to continue along the path that the Most High has created for us in spite of all of those things. And he makes a way for us to do it. Let's finish up. Let's go down here to these last 4 verses. Oh, 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Reminds me of the book of Eli. The book of Eli. That's one of those movies that you see it for the first time is the best because you don't know that he's, well, if you ain't seen the book of Eli, that's your problem. He's blind. I didn't even say spoiler alert. He's blind. He goes through the whole movie, but you don't know that because he's not moving according to that. And so when you think about the idea of not living your life reacting to these physical, visual stimuli that's placed in front of you, but rather being guided by the Ruach HaKodesh and living a life that is along the way that the Most High would have for you to be doing. This is the way that we have to.
This is the way.
I didn't even
Why don't you keep on?
I didn't even mean to say that.
It's funny.
Okay, let's jump down to let's look at these last 4 verses here. Can you read again 31 through 34? Let me put this back on screen.
All right, Matthew 6:31. Do not worry then, saying, what shall we eat, and what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For all these the nations seek for, and your heavenly Father knows that you need all these. But seek first the reign of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these shall be added to you. Do not then worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each day has enough evil of itself.
Okay, very good. Seek first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and then all of these things will be added unto you. Prioritize, right? We have to be able to have our priorities in order, and those priorities be putting the Most High first, trusting in the Most High over everything, and seeking after his kingdom, letting the Most High's will be done on this earth the way that it is in heaven. We can't walk around here looking at the world and the things that go on in it and say, well, this place is done for. I'm just going to just worry about my own self. The kingdom of heaven is about expanding the kingdom. And so we can't look at this and have kind of this just doomsday attitude about things and just there ain't no hope for none of these people. I'm just gonna worry about myself. Somebody is going to be able to benefit from you. You're going to be able to expand the kingdom in some way, somehow. And so we, each and every one of us, have to be, as he says over here, when he says, seek you first the kingdom of Elohim, when you seeking the kingdom of Elohim is not just about you trying to get in the door. It's about you making that door be wide enough so that as many people could fit in the door with you could get in there. That's how you seek first the kingdom, because you're seeking the kingdom. You're not necessarily seeking just admittance for your own self. You're seeking everything that goes along with the idea of the kingdom, which in fact is it actually being a kingdom. You can't have a kingdom without a king and without people in it. And also seeking his righteousness. We know that his righteousness is Messiah in you. And so this thing that could potentially be this situation that causes us to be, losing, gaining doubt, adding fear to our situation, losing faith. All of these things we're able to move away from when we put Messiah first in our life, when we seek, to strengthen our relationship with Messiah, when we think about what it is that he would have for us to be doing and then do those things in this world, when we do those things, we're seeking his kingdom, we're seeking his righteousness. And when we're living a life that's unto the Most High, he's going to take care of us. He's going to cause for us to move in such a way where our needs are met and that we're able to help meet other people's needs. Seeking after his righteousness is a full-time job. There isn't time to worry or anxiousness. Yes. Agreed.